What up, and welcome to the Rival Fantasy Sports Fantasy Baseball Show. I am Neal. He is Brian. What's up, Brian?
What's up, Neal? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. Doing good. You know, for those who celebrate Easter, that just came and gone.
Yes,
I'm on to week
happy
two of fantasy
belated.
baseball, man.
Damn, what a nice opening weekend. There was already a lot of good storylines, a lot of interesting takeaways, plenty to talk about this week, and I'm sure that will be that way every week moving forward.
Yeah. Hopefully, a lot of exciting stuff. I mean, this, like you said, it was as I guess as good as we could ask for, right? I mean,
Yeah,
some players are going to start off slow, it's expected, but
yeah,
for the most part, there was enough entertainment to go around for the whole week.
yeah. Some slow starting players, but some really hot teams. Some hot players and slow starting teams. You're getting
Exactly.
a nice little mix of everything.
And what we'll do is we'll start with the rivals of the week. These are just standout players that we feel like were exciting, throughout the week. Some guys just have really good games. Some guys have good games all week. It is what it is. We'll talk about some hitters that we feel like had, really good weeks. And then we'll also have some pitchers that we feel had good weeks. I think the best guy to start with is Mookie Betts, man.
I just the man is amazing. I think there's an argument to be made. He's the best active player in baseball. A lot of people will come for
Mm.
me with pitchforks, but I don't know many guys who can switch from right field to second base to shortstop all in the course of like 2 seasons and be elite level. Both as a fielder and as a hitter. So yeah, he had 11 hits, 4 home runs. I think that's including the solo series. But I mean, just an unbelievable start to the season. And
Yeah.
Mookie, barring injury, I don't really foresee him not continuing to do that, especially at the top of that lineup. It's a
No.
heck of a
Yeah.
lineup they have.
Yeah. 11 hits, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs. He got walked 7 times. I mean,
I mean,
just
you
impressive
get
stuff.
double digit RBIs out of the leadoff spot. That's
That's crazy.
crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, we talked about it last week. The Dodgers are gonna be good, man. Like regardless,
Yeah.
at least as you say in the regular season, they're
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
good.
I mean, postseason, completely different story. The last 2 years, and I mean, that's you can say that about the Dodgers. You can say that about the Braves, the Astros. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just it's narrative-y, and you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, as long as the Dodgers can maintain some modicum of health, this lineup is on paper the best in the MLB, like by a wide margin.
yeah. No, I agree with you. Michael B's cousin said, "Go Yankees." Soto for MVP. Since we're speaking about players of the week, I mean Soto did pretty damn good as well.
Yeah, wow. He talk about kryptonite for Houston. My goodness, like anytime Juan Soto walks into the juice box, the dude just completely ends the Astros.
Yeah,
He's kind of owning them lately, but yeah, Juan Soto looks great. The defense has taken a complete 180. His arm looks great. He looks like I hate saying it, but he just looks like a Yankee. Like it just makes sense seeing him in that uniform.
yeah,
So, this is the one time where I'm like, okay, I hope the Yankees actually do sign him to an extension because it does fit. Like
yeah,
it makes so much sense. So yeah, good on the Yankees and good on Soto. Look great.
yeah. That's one of those players that I always see. Mets next year might go after him. I don't know. We'll see.
I think, there's going to be a bidding war. He's going to
Yeah,
be, he won't, I don't think he'll make as much money as Otani, but I think he'll get dangerously close to that
yeah.
mark. So
Yeah. And speaking of your Astros, I just realized they played as bad as the Mets, basically. I mean,
yeah, man, the Astros can't win at home. They haven't won at home since the ALDS of last season.
yep.
So that's
My Mets sucked. My Mets sucked, man. So
yeah.
it is.
Hey, look, this is the time where people are going to overreact because opening weekend, everything's under a microscope.
Yeah.
We are a sliver of a fraction through the season so far. So no time to panic. Don't hit the panic button on anything yet, folks.
No, not yet. All right. Another rivals of the week. I guess this guy nobody probably would have put on the list, but Lourdes Gurriel Jr. 8 hits,
Man,
3 home runs, 10 RBIs, another 10 RBI guy in 1 week.
he's always that forgotten guy in the lineup. He's like the unsexy fantasy pick, but every time that he gets the opportunity, he tends to produce. He did it with the Blue Jays. He did it last year with the Diamondbacks. He's doing it again. When you have a really good lineup top down and you're protected on every side, you can kind of wait for your pitches. And Gurriel Jr. doesn't have to be the dude in that lineup, which helps him. I think he's much better as a role player, clutch hit kind of guy. You kind of just plug and play him, and he's showing it. He's showing why the Diamondbacks re-signed him this
Yeah,
offseason.
absolutely. Let me ask you this: when we were doing best ball drafts all off season and challenges and all these kind of things, I don't remember seeing him getting drafted a lot. So do you
No,
think now this week we're going to see a lot of him being drafted in best ball drafts, or
I
you
think
know?
so. I think you're going to see him a lot in weekly drafts. I think he's a great daily play, especially when they're playing at home.
Yeah,
The Diamondbacks. He does great in Arizona. So, yeah, I
yeah,
would. And I'm going to throw him into as many bingo lineups as I can because he's got that. He's got enough volatility where he may get you like 3 strikeouts, but he could also get you a home run, right?
right.
So, he's a really great bingo option, I think, for many weeks of this season.
Yeah, it's exciting when you see guys like that. Like I said, we did so many best ball drafts, and I don't
Yeah,
remember his name popping up many at all. So it's like exciting to already have a fresh name. Like, I mean, I know he's 30, but like it's good to see like a new name already appearing. That like, oh, this guy could be used. I didn't think about that. Like,
yeah.
so it's gonna be fun to see. And then the last guy I want to mention, as as far as a hitter and everything, is Ozzy. Man, Ozzy Albies. 5 hits. I mean, and they played not as many games as everybody else, I don't think, right? Because they had
Yeah,
the
they only played
postponement.
3 games this weekend. They didn't miss one, but they were rained out Thursday, so opening day got moved to Friday for the Braves
Yeah,
and the Phils. But yeah, man, Ozzy he's the epitome of like if he could just play all 162, perennial MVP candidate, in my opinion.
yeah,
Like he always ends up getting banged up or hurt, which that sucks. He's been doing this forever, and he's like 27 years old. He's still so young in the grand scheme of things. And
yeah.
the Braves have, they signed him to like the most team friendly deal. It was like 5 years or 10 years for like 5 million, like something just absurd that
That's
he shouldn't have
ridiculous.
signed.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, Ozzy Albies, obviously he's not on waivers. He was like a second round pick in most places,
yeah,
but
yeah,
he could return that value and then some pretty quickly if he keeps this up.
yeah. Absolutely. All right. So those are our three rivals of the week. A hitter. Now, if we move down to pitchers, these guys. I mean, I guess you could have predicted some of these, but not necessarily the production that they did. But you could predict that they were going to come out
Yeah.
wins potentially. The first one, Shane Bieber, he got a win this week. Gave up no runs, had 11 strikeouts. Now I know
Yeah.
I seen you draft him in some best ball drafts. I think I drafted him like once or twice, but I didn't get crazy with him or nothing. But big week for him, man.
Yeah, big bounce back for Bieber. He's, in years past, Cy Young candidate, been kind of one of those guys. He was in a bunch of trade rumors last year at the deadline, which I think we'll probably see again this year, depending on how the Guardians are set up. Come the
Yeah,
summer. But yeah, no, this was great for Bieber. It's good to see him healthy. Baseball is better when guys like this are able to pitch at a high level and perform. And seeing him get double digit strikeouts is always nice.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
he's gonna be a big injury guy, right? Like as long as he stays healthy, things should be pretty,
yeah,
positive. But it's always in the back of your mind, kind of.
yeah, and keep in mind too. I forget who they were playing this week. They played Oakland last week, right?
Yeah,
So also keep in mind, like yes, good. We're not going to discount the performance, but
right.
top down, Oakland is a bottom third team in the MLB. So this is also a testament to if you're streaming pitchers or you're playing in daily leagues, Oakland is not a bad team to target as far as the starting pitcher against them.
Yeah,
So
that's gonna be something you do all season long. It's like they're playing the Athletics. Let's get the
yeah,
pitcher
the
going.
Athletics, the Nats, I think those two are very easy targets right now as far as your streaming pitchers.
Yeah, I think I did that last year too with the Athletics. Anytime I seen a player playing them, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's get him in the
And
lineup.
on paper, the A's shouldn't be producing like this bad of a product, but they're not. They just can't get it done for whatever reason.
No, not at all. All right, and then the next guy we have on here is Bobby Miller with the Dodgers. I feel like we're gonna say the Dodgers a lot here, but yeah, Bobby Miller also got the win. Also gave up no runs, 11 strikeouts as well. So just a really high end performance from him. Probably less of a surprise in terms of he's a Dodger. He's gonna get a lot of run support. He's gonna get wins because of that, but
Yeah.
still an impressive outing for sure. I mean,
Yeah. Good to see. And I think Bobby Miller was kind of like one of those offseason darlings, like very like hyped up as a like an SP3 for people. And like you said, Neil, with that lineup, hard to turn your nose up at any pitchers that are associated with the Dodgers. So, yeah, Bobby Miller, I think we're going to say his name a lot. The Dodgers have a penchant for just they build magnificent pitchers from their farm system, and this guy is no exception. So,
Yeah.
if Bobby Miller is ever pitching, I like him as a daily and weekly pick.
Yeah, I found myself in best ball drafts drafting him a lot.
Yeah,
I was getting the Millers a lot. Bryce Miller, Bobby Miller. Like if I
yeah,
waited on pitcher,
a lot
like I
of
was getting in that range.
That's what
So
you got to
yeah,
do.
so shout out to Bobby Miller, and then the last one, Brady Singer for the Royals. Another guy you talked about, got the
Yeah,
win, gave up no runs, 10 strikeouts. So shout out to all three of these guys. I mean, they killed it with the
yeah.
strikeouts.
The double digit strikeouts is just it's a beautiful thing to see, especially in fantasy. And if anyone watched the live stream last week on opening day, I said that the Royals had done Brady Singer very dirty. He took it on himself to add, I think, 2 new pitches this offseason, and obviously it's paying off. So I hope for Brady Singer's sake, if no one else, that this continues just purely so I can take a victory lap at the end of the season and say I was right,
Yeah.
that he is a good enough pitcher to be that guy. But yeah, the Royals, there's something happening there. I don't really know if it's going to translate to wins, but it's nice to see these teams that, weren't supposed to come out of the gate really great doing well. So good for the
Yeah.
Royals.
Yeah. Shout out to all of our rivals of the week. Give them some air horn action. They deserve it. Shout out to those guys. All right. Let's move on to, kind of one of the more important things when it comes to fantasy, and that's the news, the injuries, because these are situations that we want to monitor in terms of whether, it's a good thing in a positive way or a negative thing in terms of players being injured and stuff. Then you're also going to get into like, do I pick the guy's replacement? Do I not worry about him? Is he not really as good as a starter? So it's not even worth, dealing with type of situation. So let's get into these news and injuries right now. The first one, Bo Bichette, late scratch with neck spasms. I just think it's something to monitor, from a day to day. Obviously, he's one of those guys that people pay a lot of attention to in fantasy. And so another, young guy that people have a lot of, love for. So I thought that was interesting, especially with neck spasms. Are you really concerned or you're kind of not concerned?
I wouldn't be. Yeah, when it's a spasm, I assume it's probably just like a nerve thing. Maybe swung the bat too hard, kind of pinched. Keep
Yeah.
an eye on it. Probably avoid him like Monday, Tuesday in your daily drafts. But I think if you're going for a weekly, you can wait on shortstop or if he's like a late infield pick for you. But yeah, I think, worst case in best ball, you avoid him this week and then see how he does. If he's back Wednesday, then great. No big deal. And then he's a week 3 target in all of your drafts.
Yeah. All right, next one. Chaz Chisholm. I just want to bring this up because I think it's interesting that, he was complaining about the open roof for the Marlins and that, he's blaming it for their struggles a little bit here early on, saying that, they didn't play like that all year. All of a sudden they got it open. He can't see the pitches, this and that. I kind of bring it up because because of that, and also because like the second or third comment he's made like recently, last time he criticized like the players from last year that were on the team, some of the players. And so like, I'm kind of curious your take is like, is Chaz a little bit of a headache? Is he not happy in Miami? Like, what do you think what do you think's up with Chaz? Like, what do you think was Chaz with all this stuff like that he's doing?
Yeah, it does have the odor of please trade me. I'm sick of
Yeah.
being here. Now, on the flip side, if Jazz Chisholm can play a full season, then we'll talk. But I don't, he hasn't done that for a while. He's been banged up. The MLB,
Yeah.
the show curse caught up to him. So yeah, I think this is just another. I think he's looking for a little bit of media attention. He seems to like stirring the pot a little bit. Jazz is still a great player, but obviously the open roof didn't bother the Pirates, and that's why the Pirates are undefeated right now. So maybe it's more of a Jazz problem than it is a field problem.
Yeah.
We'll just
I
leave
just
it at
thought it was
that.
interesting. I'm like, how many times we're gonna see him in the media,
Headlines. Yeah, for the
causing
wrong
headlines
reasons too.
and
Like,
yeah,
like just go out there, start stealing some bags, hit some doubles. Like that's what Jazz is really good at.
yeah,
Like back it up with the play first, and then like then we can have these conversations. But not game 3, game 4. We don't need to talk about this yet.
yeah. I mean, he just hit a
Got to
grand
adjust.
slam the other day, so that was good. Do more
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. Just and adjust, right? Like it's
Yeah,
don't make excuses this early on. Like yeah, you guys lost. It's okay. Move on. Like just
yeah,
don't let the media. I think he lets the media kind of dig at him because he thinks they're
yeah,
stupid questions because frankly, asking somebody to the effect, "Hey, what was the reason for your struggles?" Because 3 games in, like
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
it's fine. They will
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah. What do you want him to say, right? So he just
Yeah,
starts throwing stuff out there. We see this happen in all sports. So players get tired
yeah,
of the media and start answering things in weird ways. All right. So, all right. Enough with Jazz. Let's move on to Eloy Jimenez. Could be heading to the IL.
yeah. He has an adductor strain, and it sounds like it got pretty. It's more severe than they originally thought. So keep an eye on it. Could be an IL stint for him starting this week. Not that you're really relying on the White Sox hitters outside of like Luis Robert Jr.
Yeah.
But just something to monitor. If Eloy Jimenez, that it makes the White Sox an even juicier target for your daily and weekly pitching.
Yep. Yes, they are another target of ours. All right, a guy that we mentioned. This one's a bummer. This one's the biggest injury bummer on the list today, and it's because we even spoke him up last week. We talked
Yeah,
about how I felt he was underrated. He felt like he was in a good position this year, and Justin Steele pulls his hamstring open tonight, likely
yeah,
to miss at least a month. You think?
yeah. It sounds originally they said 2 weeks. Now it looks more like a month. He he strained it trying to flip a ball to first on a infield single. Great play. He made the play, I believe, but kind of just crumbled to the ground. And originally, I thought it was his knee. When when you're watching it live and a guy like grabs at it, the front of his leg, you
Yeah.
think ACL. But yeah, so this is just a real bummer. Like we said last week, the Cubs I thought were kind of a dark horse team in the NL Central. I thought Justin Steele could be a Cy Young candidate pretty easily. So this hurts his candidacy, and it hurts the Cubs in general. I
Yeah.
mean,
Is there
it's
anyone we care about in terms of replacing him in the rotation? I mean,
so he's
maybe,
not necessarily a replacement, but I think Javier Assad is somebody you can watch based on this. He was kind of slotted in as the Cubs' fifth starter. He might, I think he'll stick in the rotation now as long as
right.
Steele is out, so you don't have to worry about him, getting demoted to the bullpen or getting called down. So someone to monitor, especially in those 2 start weeks or when you need a streamer for your daily drafts. I think Javier Assad is someone to keep an eye on.
Gotcha. Let me see here. We also got Royce Lewis, 10-day IL, quad
Yeah,
injury.
and this quad strain apparently is much worse than they thought. So he left opening day. They thought it would be a minimum stint. It's only progressed worse. Now it's sounding like a month, maybe 2 months.
Man,
Um,
yikes.
and this is just, you bring this up because Royce Lewis has been we're all waiting for it. He had
Hmm.
like consecutive home runs in the playoffs last year. When he's healthy, when he's on the field, he's unbelievable. But he's had the same problem that Alex Kirilloff has happened. A lot of these Twins players, they cannot stay healthy once they come up to the big leagues. Byron Buxton, right? Like
Right.
the Twins just do not have a good track record of keeping these studs healthy. And so I don't know if it's something in the water in Minnesota or what's going on, but if you took Royce Lewis to be your starting third baseman, you're probably going to need to make a backup plan at this stage of the game because it's not looking good for him.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, they always have injury issues, man, with their big players. It
Yeah.
sucks. And then also one more injury for the Braves. We don't even have him on our list today. Murphy, the catcher.
Yes. Yeah. Sean Murphy strained his oblique. So that means Travis d'Arnaud is now the official. He's the guy behind the dish. I
Do you
imagine Sean
trust him a
Murphy.
lot in fantasy, or you don't really care?
I think Travis d'Arnaud, if you punted catcher, if you didn't get like Will Smith or William Contreras or like one of the top guys or
Right.
Real Muto, and your streaming catcher, I think he's a good option as a stopgap because when d'Arnaud does have the at bats, he does perform.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think d'Arnaud is a fine play, but I also think that Sean Murphy will probably do a minimum stint on the IL and be back.
Got it. All right, and then the only other news we want to make sure we mention is that the Twins and the Brewers only have 5 games each this week.
Yes. Yeah. So as
And
you're doing your daily drafts or weekly drafts, just know that you'll probably get a little less bang for your buck with those players on those teams. Um, so just know that going in, if you're drafting Christian Yelich, if you're drafting Carlos Correa, you're going to get one less game out of them on your
yeah,
weekly slates.
yeah, and it's important to also mention that you also wrote an article this week
I
about
did.
pitchers who will get 2 starts this week.
Yes, 2-star
So
pitchers, a big deal if you are, especially in daily and weekly. These guys, you're kind of sacrificing the sexy ace, your Spencer Striders, your Zach Wheelers, to try to maximize the value of these guys. So like Shota Imanga is a really good one for the Cubs this week. Tanner Houck pitches today, and then likely on Sunday. Same with Reese Olson. So I think, yeah, you guys got a lot of good options for your 2-start players here. Christopher Sanchez for the Phillies. Michael Waka is that really kind of gross, deep, like if you're really going for it. Since he opens the week at Baltimore, which is not great, but then you get the White Sox, so you take the good with the bad, right? Same with Imanga. Gets the Rockies at the front of the week, which is always
yeah.
nice, but then they got to play LA. So you take the good with the bad with the 2-star pitchers and try to maximize the point totals as best you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I want to make sure we mention that because we're going to talk about the teams that aren't going to play a lot. There are pitchers who are going to play a lot, and it's important,
Yes.
right? So, all right, cool. So that's the big news and injuries. I don't have anything else that I missed. Do you have anything that you missed that we missed?
No, I mean, there's always going to be more news, more notes.
Yeah.
So we're trying to hit on some of the big, impactful fantasy ones. So don't
Yeah.
come for us if we miss yes, I know Joey Bart got DFA'd. I get it.
Yeah, I
Nobody
see
was
that too.
rostering Joey Bart in their fantasy leagues. Nobody's drafting him in dailies. So don't come at me for not talking
Yeah.
about Joey Bart.
Yeah, it's important to mention. Like, we're talking about, the stuff that we feel like are going to impact people the most in fantasy. And, when you're playing the rival games where there's challenges, best ball, whatever it is, like Joey Bart, yeah, it's a story, but like at the end of the day, like, is it going to affect your fantasy team? We don't want to drag the episode out forever. Obviously, we could and talk about every single little detail. But for that, I mean, if there is anything, significant that happens after this, we may put up a video later in the week, or you may have to just monitor the socials and see what we post then. But yeah, we're going to just cover as many of the main bigger stories that are impactful right now that we can. So
absolutely.
All right, cool. So let's get out of news and injuries and move over to waiver wire. With the waiver
wire.
wire, we'll start with the hitters. We'll do pitchers and hitters, but we'll start with the hitters. I think the biggest name, I would consider it a surprise, I guess, because I mean, if they're on the waiver wire, obviously a lot of people weren't drafting them necessarily. I also think that with the waiver wire, you could also look at it as sneaky plays for challenges on Rival. I mean, guys that aren't necessarily the biggest of names, but are hitting like it or pitching like it. And can catch people off guard. Or again, if you're doing the weekly best ball or the daily best ball, these guys, you should be considering for sure.
Yeah.
So let's start with Michael Conforto. I mean, 6 hits, 2 home runs, 6 runs, 5 RBIs, former Met. So I'm mad. How do you feel, man?
I have loved Conforto's another one. When he's healthy, the dude absolutely rakes. And so it's good to see him healthy. I think, again, another one of those guys, when he doesn't have the weight of the world on his shoulders, happen to be the dude in the lineup.
Yep.
He performs better when he's healthy. So yeah, ride the hot hand. And look, the Giants ballpark is not the most hitter friendly ballpark. It's kind of like Camden Yard now, the way they changed the dimensions. However, if you hit that alley in right center field, you can leg out a double and a triple very easily. So I think Conforto is set up to have a really good year if he can keep up, stay on the field. So yeah, I love this pick, and I think it's good to see him back in the conversation.
Yeah, another one, JD Davis,
another former Met.
Another former Met,
former Astro as well. He was an Astro, then he was a Met, and now he's been bopping around a lot. But
it's one of those things when you're like, oh, my team hasn't won a game this year. Oh, this guy used to play for our team, and he's doing amazing. It's awesome. But JD Davis, man, 5 hits, 2 home runs, 3 runs, 2 RBIs. I think he was a late signing for them too, wasn't he? He just recently signed right before the season started. So,
and I'm not shocked to see him kind of have this power streak. He's notorious for that. He'll have a lot of strikeouts, but he's also going to provide a lot of power in an A's lineup that needs power, that needs someone to catalyze a little bit of RBI movement. JD Davis, I think he could stick. Now, you have to go in knowing that like this week could be really good for JD Davis, and next week they may move on from him to let younger guys get reps, right? So when you have these teams that are in very volatile states, something to keep in mind. But JD Davis has always been a guy that when he's hot, you can plug and play him, no problem. So good alternative if you're out Royce Lewis right now and your waiver wire is very thin in like traditional season long leagues, you could do worse than JD Davis.
Absolutely. All right, next on the list, Matt Chapman, another San Francisco player.
See,
5 hits, 2 home runs, 4 runs, 6 RBIs, just out here slugging. I mean,
you'll love to see it because Matt Chapman has always. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it was always the question of is Matt Chapman or Nolan Arenado the best third baseman in the MLB, right? There was
right.
that we had that conversation for years. And Matt Chapman could just never get over that like consistent hump of providing power on the regular basis. If he does this in his
Here
new
we are.
home, again, San Fran, same situation as Conforto, right? Like that lineup is sneaky stacked. Like
Yeah.
you got Soler in there, you got I forgot the name of the guy they signed out of Japan, the outfielder. But you know that it's a very and Tyro Estrada. When Tyro Estrada is batting sixth in your lineup, like you have a very strong lineup
Yeah,
that
you're in good
nobody's going to
shape.
talk about. So, yeah, Matt Chapman, another great. If somehow he did not get drafted in your traditional leagues, grab him, plug and play. Also, just love him for weekly and for bingo. I think he's like a stalwart bingo lineup guy for the entire season.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can
a
kind
lot
of
of these
just
guys are sneaky good for bingo, man.
yeah, because again, right, you're looking for dudes who may get you home runs, but then will also strike out or like ground into double plays. Matt Chapman's really good at all the above, so like
Yep.
he's a really solid bingo play.
Yep, absolutely. All right, cool. And then the last guy on our list, Oswaldo Cabrera for the Yankees. 7-17 to start the year, 6 RBIs, two home runs. The Yankees are hot, man. There's gonna be names like this that are gonna pop up that you might not have been considering before, but are worthy now.
Yeah, and Cabrera, he's got not on rival, but if you're playing anywhere else for traditional season long, he has like 6 position eligibility. I think he's second base, shortstop, third base, and outfield eligible in most
That's
places. So
beautiful. That's beautiful.
the utility alone is huge. So go run, grab him. But yeah, Yankees are hot. Cabrera, I don't see a world. I wrote this in the waiver wire article, but I don't see a world where if he keeps this up even remotely close to what he's been doing, the Yankees can't bench him once LeMahieu comes back. I
No.
don't see a world where that happens. If anything, bench Giancarlo Stanton, put LeMahieu in at DH, and they just kind of switch off there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's going to stick in that lineup for the most of the season. So
Yeah. All right. That's it for
you hate to
the
see it,
waiver
man. You
wire
hate seeing the
hits.
Yankees be back to the evil empire, but here we
Said you
are.
hate to see it. You hate to see it.
You hate to see it, but yeah, it's like a train wreck. You can't look away. So
All right, that is it for the hitters. Let's move over to some waiver wire pitchers who, probably didn't maybe didn't get drafted or got drafted later. Again, I'm always thinking best ball, so these are definitely guys that I'm targeting in best ball that definitely didn't go in a lot of the drafts that I was in already.
yeah.
So
And just
people
to
aren't
caveat
benefiting.
that too, Neal, we played 10 and 12 team best ball. So like it is more
Yes.
shallow than some of you hardcores are gonna come in and be like, this guy was taken in my 16 team. Like I know we get it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just like we're playing we're not getting into the BABIP and WOBA leagues. So just
Exactly.
don't come for us when we mention guys that may have already been taken in your 16 team leagues.
Exactly. Keep your hate to the side. By the way, if you're watching, like, hit the subscribe button, man. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Give us some likes. We need to, we're fighting the algorithm out here for YouTube, man. We got to do our best, and the only way to do that is you guys hitting subscribe. So please make sure you do that. Hit the subscribe button. All right. For the pitchers, let's start with Jerry Jones. Pittsburgh got the win. Little over 5 innings, 5.2 innings of work.
Yeah.
10 strikeouts, another big strikeout guy this last week. Wasn't perfect, but I think it's like kind of hard to ignore, right? I mean,
it is. It's very hard to ignore. And I mean, the Pirates are now in this position where they're going to have these young guys coming up. Like we were talking about Paul Skeens a little bit last week and like in the offseason of he's the guy that you think is kind of their ace moving forward, the future. Pirates are very good at developing pitching. We saw it with Mitch. We've seen it with Mitch Keller, Jamison Talion before he got traded, right? Like, so this is par for the course for the Pirates, and they're undefeated right now. So Jared Jones is a part of that, and I think you temper your expectations. You have to know that there's going to be some bumps and bruises for the young kid. He's 22, I think.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's only 22 years old.
So he's temper your expectations. But I think if it's a plus matchup or if the Pirates are playing at home and Jones is on the bump, love him as a daily pick. Love him as a daily pick.
Yep. All right, next guy on the list, Jake Flaherty, Detroit, 7 strikeouts on 6 innings pitched, looks solid. Good upcoming matchup. Again, we love the matchup.
We love seeing Jack Flaherty turn back the clock. And then this is just a little bit of that. I'm going to say it's a little bit of that AJ Hinch magic in Detroit when you have a manager who's done this before, right? Of taking a team, very young, not supposed to compete, helping them turn a corner, helping some of these pitchers who need some changes. You know, AJ Hinch was a catcher, so like he knows how to do this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's good to see Jack Flaherty bounce back. I think you have to roster him. I think if he's on your waiver wire somehow, grab him immediately and stash him. You don't have to start him every week or every outing, but I think I'd so much rather have him on my bench than somebody else start him against me.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think that Detroit team, they're going to surprise people. I think they could sneak away with that division. So this will be a big part of it if Flaherty can stay healthy.
I mean, the first 3 pitchers did good, man. Skubal, Kenta, and Jack. So
and then you get Reese Olson and Casey Mize. Like top down. It is a sneaky good rotation.
Yeah, I think it's gonna surprise some people. All right, another guy that we spoke about last week. I felt like he was worthy of putting on the list. We're gonna give him some air horns.
Yeah,
and that is another Yankee, Marcus Stroman.
Show.
I put Lewis Gill on the list as well, just because he is going to pitch this week, right? And I think like, he may fall into some good value just because of the fact that he's on a good team. They're starting hot. I know he's young. I know he hasn't really proved himself, but Marcus Stroman, let's just start with that. Yankees are hot. Like I said, Stroman played pretty decent. I mean, he got the win. He had some strikeouts. It wasn't one of the 10 or 11 strikeouts like some of the guys we talked about earlier, but got some walks, but not too bad. But so what do you think? Marcus Stroman, man, good waiver pickup?
Yeah, I think Stroman, if the Yankees are able to keep this up, he's good to have as your like SP 4-5. I don't really think you can go wrong. And he's never been a big like strikeout guy. He does have a penchant for walking some people, but again, right? Yeah, the Astros didn't look great, but they're still a good team, right? And so he put on a pretty good show against a tough Astros lineup. So I think Stroman, I think you keep an eye on Gill because I believe he pitches tonight for the Yankees. So keep an eye on what his performance is. But look, Aaron Boone may have already bought himself another season just because the Yankees weren't even supposed to start this well. So, I think, keep an eye on it. And I think it pains me to say it, but the Yankees have seems like they figured something out this offseason so far.
Yeah.
But not to overreact.
Right. We can't overreact too early. Yep. We don't want to react. We always say that, but like we also don't want to like underreact. And,
exactly. You have to note it and you have to talk about it, but you also don't drop somebody who had, your 8th round pick because they had a bad first outing and you're trying to replace them. Like you don't win your fantasy baseball season in week 2. Just like you don't win it at the draft. So
right.
We had a long season ahead of us, folks.
Oh yeah. I say that during football season is 17 weeks.
Yeah.
For baseball, it's for real.
We're 20 plus weeks. Yeah. So it's all good. It's all good. Let it ride.
Absolutely. And the last pitcher on the list that we want to mention for the waiver wire, Abner Uribe, Milwaukee, had 2 saves over the weekend.
Yep.
Looking good. I mean, has control issues, but could be the closer of the future, you think?
I think so. I think, he will give up some long balls and he does. Yeah. I mean, he's an absolute flamethrower. Which, that just tends to be, that lends itself to having control issues. But Devin Williams is out. He's out for the foreseeable future. Saves are probably going to come from Uribe. And I know on Rival specifically, we don't necessarily have points for saves, but in your weekly games, if you're trying to maximize some pitching and you want to get guys who are in high leverage situations that can get you strikeouts, looking at guys like Uribe are good. And then if you're in a traditional season-long league and he's somehow on the waiver wire, to me, I'm going to take the lotto ticket. You have 3 guys right now in Milwaukee that could be the closer. Pyampus and McGill and Uribe. I'm going to take Uribe because he's homegrown. He's a guy they've had in their system for a while. They brought him up last year to kind of be the setup. And so now it's his time to shine, and it's showing.
Right.
So I'll take Uribe over most waiver wire closers or most waiver wire relievers this week.
Makes sense. And before we do leave the waivers, I want to mention Brian also writes a waiver wire article that you should go check out. It will have some different players that we didn't talk about already. So there's definitely a reason to go there. It's not like, hey, I already heard on the show. Why would I go to the article? Go to the article because there's other players there and it's more in-depth written up stuff about them and pictures that you want to look at. So like, go check it out. Anyone on the list you want to mention really quick before we move on?
Victor Scott, we mentioned him last week. Will Benson, he's an outfielder. I didn't put that in there. I'll edit that. But, those guys, Will Benson's a really good one with TJ Friedel out for the Reds. He's probably going to be batting in the top half of this order for the foreseeable future. So you got to take the good with the bad. He strikes out a lot, but when he makes contact, he hits the crap out of the ball. So I like Will Benson, and when he's hot, he's hot. So you have to pay attention to him.
Yeah. And we talked about it. Uribe, he's on there, but Brian's got some other players. Foley, Griffin Jacks. Again, check out the site, rivalfantasy.com. You will get all this information that Brian writes up on here, so don't miss it. Go check it out. Just wanted to make sure we give it acknowledgement there, Adam. I mean,
Thanks,
Brian.
Man.
Make sure we acknowledge it.
Do it for the people. Do it for you guys. That way you have all the tools you need to win fantasy baseball.
Exactly. Whether it's written, audio, video, whatever it is, we're trying to cover all the bases for you guys. You know what I mean? People always ask. There's a different lane for everybody. You know what I mean? I'm not one who really likes to read the long articles these days, but some people still that's their go-to. So I respect.
And I try to keep it condensed, and you can just hit the headings, and you see who I've got on the article. You don't have to read the blurbs; you won't offend me. But it's there, so you can hopefully consume it quickly and beat your league mates to the wire if you need to.
Absolutely. All right, so we covered our rivals of the week. We covered the news and injuries that we felt were most impactful right now. We covered a lot of the waiver wire hitters, pitchers. Again, there's articles on the site if you want more of that information that Brian has covered on there. I think it's time for us to do some rival, man.
Ooh, let's do it. Let's dive in.
Let's start with challenges. Let me go ahead and bring it up on the screen here.
Yes.
So we all can play along. All right. So we can look through and see if there's any early bets yet. I don't know if there are any early challenges yet on here or not. We'll also create some social challenges, which I will drop in the chat. And then we'll also drop them on the social, which I'm on X at Rival Fantasy. So make sure you follow there. If you like some of these challenges, you can accept them. You can accept part of them, all of them, whatever you want to do. So let's just skip through here first. I don't know. Sometimes early in the week, people are a little shy. Mackenzie Gore. I do see a lot of Mackenzie Gore right now going on.
And I like that matchup. I think Gore's one of the few bright spots for the for the Nats. So could do a lot worse.
Yeah, it could. I mean, you think someone will take it if we put something on it?
I mean, I think just based on the fact that Waldron plays for the Pods, I think
we might get some bite.
I think you get a bite. So
now. I'll skip it for now, though. We'll come back to it.
But there you go. You got an in Division 1, Mania versus Gore. That one's kind of gross, but kind of fun at the same time.
You think Sean will rebound at all, or you think the Mets are just being too hopeful?
I think he's got a lot of potential, but I don't see a world where Mania becomes the guy people thought he was going to be.
Yeah, sucks, man. It sucks, but whatever. The Mets will find something eventually.
See, that's an interesting one.
That's a good one.
I do like that one. See, that's one where I'm like, okay, I think you could take either side. I'm interested to see what Reese Olson does in year 2. Playing the Mets today. Mets are.
I think this is
spicy
side.
right now.
Yeah, I think if you take this side, Mackenzie's Gore got some hype behind him. I think someone might take the other side.
I think so. I think that is a world where you can get some action.
Yeah,
the Gore side.
So I'm gonna take this and see what happens. I'm just gonna put 5 on it. I won't get crazy, just to see if anyone bites on it. Now I know you also had some challenges that we were gonna create, and let me see something here. Oh, there's a Lewis Gill one. I skipped too fast on that one. Want to see? Could have Oh, we got one here. Someone's put $5 on Corey Seager. Reynolds has actually been pretty decent to start too. I mean,
honestly, I don't like betting against Brian Reynolds. So I almost said Ryan Reynolds. I also don't like betting against Ryan Reynolds. But I think this is a good one. On paper, you're like, oh, Brian Reynolds doesn't have anything compared to Corey Seager.
Right?
Not true. Brian Reynolds is like one of the most consistent fantasy players of the last 3 years. So
And again, if you're not getting advice from us at the moment or you're not sure, you can always click on the player card and get some insight there. I mean,
some insight.
you can see how players have been performing on our cool little chart here. There's news, you look at the game logs, all that kind of stuff. But if you click on Brian, I mean, like I said, he's been having some okay games, you know, some
Yeah.
pretty good games. So again, it was the Marlins. Now he's playing the Nationals. I mean, good, you know, good matchups for him. So
Yeah, the
this
Nats.
is one.
That's a juicy matchup against the
Yeah,
Nats.
this is a fun one to take a shot on. We'll see how that one plays out. Now, I did
Yeah.
want to show this. Let's see here. You sent me one.
I did send you one.
I seen the alert come through, just so you know.
Yeah.
I seen the challenge come through. So you sent me Corbin Carroll, Julio versus Julio.
I like it tonight. You know, both what I tend to do with social challenges, and you know, maybe this is just how I like to play, but I like to look at divisional guys. I like to look at people who are playing generally the same time, so that way you're not like, you know, oh, I have a day game versus a night game, right? So they're both playing tonight. They're both playing West Coast. So yeah, I think, you know, these are two guys who are in a position to do better than they have the first series.
Right.
So I like Corbin Carroll tonight against the Yankees. I think, you know, we get Luis Gill, so we're going to see if Gill steps it up. But Carroll he's been on base a ton, so we're just waiting for that power surge. And I think tonight might be the night we get a home run out of Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, I mean, also Julio's kind of started off a little slow. I mean, he's had some exciting moments, but he's also started off a little slow.
And he did the same thing last year. So, you know, can't, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Julio's, you know, not what he was touted to be this year.
Right.
He's fine.
Right.
These are guys who have both arguably had slow starts, and, you know, I'm kind of interested to see what happens with them this evening.
Absolutely. So I'm going to take the challenge because I want to challenge Brian because I love doing that.
There it is.
It's one of my more fun things to do is challenge Brian, especially in baseball where he's the expert, if you will.
I guess I forgot to put that on my
He's
my
a little
resume.
more in love with it than me. I should put up the banner. I mean, I should put our names under us and put for you just expert. Don't put Brian.
Nobody really knows in what, but I'm an expert. So
that's hilarious. All right, so let's create some social challenges. I know you had some that you really liked. Let me know what to build here, man. Let me know.
So, you know, and so you guys know, for those of you who haven't really used social challenges, these are only really available the day of or 24 hours before the games, right? So I have some challenges I'll tell you about that I'm looking at later in the week. But I think for today, another one that I really like, we're going to get Stephen Kwan on one side.
All right.
So Kwan has been in fuego, and I really like what he's doing. He's a quiet stud on the Guardians. And then we are going to pop in, I think, to St. Louis, and we'll go with Victor Scott on the other side.
Victor Scott, who is on your article.
He is on the article. So when you're getting Victor Scott here, when it comes to fantasy points, right? You know, remember points versus categories, big difference. So if Victor Scott gets on base, the odds of you getting points from him are very high. The man can run. He's got like 80 percentile plus speed. His first hit this weekend was an infield single that he legged out. So, you know, Victor Scott, he's got that high upside play versus Kwan is just like constantly consistent. He is the dude in Cleveland. He's their leadoff hitter. So, you know, I don't think you can really go wrong on either side. But Victor Scott is very much like feast or famine. You're kind of waiting around to see if he's going to really take off versus Kwan, known entity this week. So I will happily take the Victor Scott side of this.
Okay, you'll take the
I
Victor
believe
Scott
in
squad. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, since we're gonna put this out to the people, do you want me to take the Stephen Kwan side and then you'll end up jumping on this, or do you want me to just to put Victor Scott and let the people jump onto the Stephen Kwan side?
You know, if the people want to jump on the Stephen Kwan side, I'm in. Let's do it. Let's throw 25er on this.
All right,
because I do believe in Victor Scott.
And what I'll do is, if you are my friend or Brian's friend, we would see your name here on the quick share, but you're not because you're just watching it and you haven't sent me a friend request. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy the link, and I'm actually going to drop it in the chat. So it's in there now. And then I'm also going to post it on X. So you'll find it again at Rival Fantasy. Follow us there. You'll see the challenges that we create here live on the show. If you catch them in time, of course, that is. Otherwise, we just drop random ones throughout the week and stuff too. So you'll see them there. But just, again, when you create challenges like this is social challenges. You can join the system generated ones. That's fine. That's cool. Or you can create challenges. Again, you can share them on social like we're doing or with you guys because we just like to interact with you guys. Or, someone, your friends, your family, people in the office, whoever you're debating baseball with, this is a fun way, to just settle them. So Stephen Kwan, Victor Scott, it's going to be out there now. Again, if you accept it, it's on the chat right now, but it'll be on X also in a little bit. So that'll be out there, man. Do you have any other ones for today that you wanted to create, or is that it for today?
I think one other quick one we can do, a little third base versus third base action. We'll do some Alec Boehm of the Phillies versus Ramon Urias of the Orioles.
How do you spell the last name?
Urias is Uria, and he should be in there. Oh, all right. I guess he's not. Maybe he might be questionable today. He's been banged up. So, then let's do Josh Young. So for the Rangers,
there we go.
Got 2 third basemen. I actually think Bohm's going to have a better night tonight than Josh Young. I think I think when the Reds, anytime you play the Reds, it feels like those games get more scrappy for some reason. It feels like the Reds bring out the scrappiness of other teams. I don't know what it is. It's that Cincinnati water.
But. What's so funny is like a side note from this is I also collect sports cards. Yeah. And Alec Boehm, man, he had a window at one point where people wanted his cards like crazy, man.
He was the hotness. I mean, people thought that he was like the next big thing. And I mean, he's still a great player.
Right.
But
when he was first rising, he was popular, man.
He's not what they thought he was gonna be.
Which side do you want to take on this one?
I like the Alec Boehm side today.
Okay. All right. So we'll take Boehm. We'll give it $25. We'll also drop this one onto social and in the chat. So let's put it in the chat now so that the chat always has first grabs.
Dibs, baby. First
dibs. It's in there. Okay, perfect. Let me drop this.
Yeah, and those are the challenges I like today. I think I tend to go position for position, so I like doing like third base versus third base, outfield versus outfield. I think it adds another layer to it. But it's not like there's a shortage of challenges that you can create.
No, absolutely. Yeah, you could do all different positions versus positions. You can do pitcher versus hitter. It doesn't matter. There's no, I like to do them sometimes, where it's just, I like to do matchups sometimes. Like we talked about before, I'm a Mets fan, you're an Astros fan. I like to do if we're playing each other, I like to throw those out there.
Yep.
So it just depends on, what's going on. And again, also when it comes to challenges, if you're going to create something, you want to, make it enticing, make it fun. Don't make it totally lopsided and say, oh, nobody's accepting my challenge. Well, yeah, it's totally lopsided. Make it fun. Think about players that maybe are sleepers to you, but that, people have a big name and people will likely accept the other side. Have fun with it, but get creative. That's what I like about challenges. You can get creative with it, and the creativity you're using actually matters, whether people accept them or not. You know what I mean? So
it's a lot more brain power than just, this matchup versus that matchup,
exactly.
In my leagues, right? It changes how you think about it.
Exactly. All right, now what we'll do is we're gonna do a best ball at the end like we did last week, but we'll do a bingo card really quick. For those who aren't aware, bingo is $1 per card. You set a lineup. There's no salary cap or nothing like that, and you're just trying to fill in and hit these achievements that are given to you on the card. Every card is different, so you're not stuck on one kind of list of stuff to hit on. As you can see, none of these cards are yellow, so I didn't win on any of these, but the green ones are ones that I hit, so I was so close. Look at this.
Dude, that would have been a double whammy too.
Yeah,
because that's a 4 and a corner and a line.
Look at this. O'Neal, couldn't you get me a double, bro? Come on, man. Come on, need a couple doubles from you, man. Come on.
Wait, who were you? Oh, you were relying on Ellie? Is that who didn't get you?
Neal Cruz.
Neal Cruz. Yeah. That's. Come on.
Bummer, man. Bummer. But if you do win, it'll look like this. It'll be yellow. This is 4 and a corner. You could win that way, or you can win also just 5 in a row. I don't know if I have any examples off the top to show you guys, but yeah, 5 in a row, any direction. Oh, here we go. Oh, look, this was another double whammy.
That's a twofer. There you go.
Yeah. So this is what it would look like if you won 5 in a row. The prize pool will change as people continue to play. Right now, it's up over $100, and that will just continue to grow until there's winner or winners. So let's go ahead and buy a card. We'll create the lineup. We've talked about a lot of these players. Listen, I'm going to put Tristan McKenzie in here. I just want everyone to know Tristan McKenzie. I'm in Palm Beach County. He went to school here, so I want to put Tristan McKenzie on our bingo card. I root for Tristan. I know he's had a lot of struggles with injuries and whatnot, but
he's another one of those when he's healthy, man.
This is the season. This is the season.
I hope so. Brian. I hope so.
All right, so Tristan's my pick. Do you have a pitcher that you want to make sure?
I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. Let's get some Michael Wacha in there.
All right, where are you
gonna do it? I'm gonna.
All right, and we have one more pitcher. Let's stay away from my Mets. Don't get me to fall for that. We can go Gil, who we spoke about earlier. Take a risk there.
I like Gil. I think you could do James. Actually, I don't like James Paxton. Max Meyer is actually an interesting pick. He's a prospect coming up for the Finns, the Marlins. We don't know what he's going to do, but he gets the Angels, which is a really nice matchup because that lineup is garbage. So
yeah, we'll put Max on there. Hopefully Jazz hits another grand slam and we'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll be good. Everything will be fine after that.
All right, let's get some infielders. We're going to stay away from Bo. He's got the neck spasm.
So stay away from that for now. Honestly, dude, tonight I really like Ketel Marte for the Diamondbacks against Luis Gil. I think
tipping all caps here.
Got that caps lock on.
Yeah, I'm yelling Marte.
That's how I feel about Ketel every time he's in my lineup too. So
all right, we got Marte in there. Who else can we do?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good matchups today, and so just so everyone's aware, while we're recording this, 2 games have started. The Rockies game has started against the Cubs, and the White Sox Braves game has already begun. So we're not picking from those games, obviously, because we can't. Yeah. So I think as far as infielders go, there's so many good infielders.
Obvious route, or we can go
I think I go Bobby Witt, man. Bobby Witt has just been unreal so far. He's looked so good.
Look at this trajectory.
And yesterday, that headline is even less impressive when it said that he finished a double shy of the cycle. He was a double shy of the cycle in the 3rd inning. So sick. 3 at bats, and he was already loaded up for a cycle. So good for him. He's unbelievable.
Shout out to him. I feel like we should put Juan Soto in here.
Yeah, I think we have to.
Let's give him some love. Yeah. Let's give him some love. And then who else? I mean, we just put Carroll in a challenge.
Yeah. I think Randy Rosarena or George Springer are some good options today.
Okay. I mean, George Springer against your Astros?
Yeah. Look, Springer in the juice box, man. Springer in the juice box. He loves hitting against the Astros. He loves it now. So
you said it. We're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Anytime Brian is going to give me a player against the Astros, I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. Now we have 2 utility spots to fill. We can fill this obviously with infielders, outfielders. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
I think I might dip down into maybe like a Riley Green. A Christian Walker is really nice. Right. Yeah, I don't think you can really. Jazz is right there too. If we want to see if Jazz can figure it out today,
let's go a pissed off Jazz.
Yeah,
let's see if he ends up being a pissed off or a crybaby. We'll see which one he is. And then you say Christian Walker. You want Walker or
I think Christian Walker, Josh Naylor, Jorge Soler could be interesting too. They're playing the Dodgers tonight, so interesting to see what. Soler could do against them, but Naylor against Seattle, that's after dark, which is nice. So,
actually, we can go Naylor then.
Yeah, I think. I like Naylor, but you also run the risk of he did sit one day this weekend, but he should be playing. So give me Josh Naylor.
Oops, I just made a challenge and just started a bingo card. Let me just fill him back up. See what I did? I got distracted.
Yeah, that's my bad. I was talking too much about Josh Naylor. So.
When you say so many good things about a player, man, just lose focus. Let me just throw them all back in there really quick. Yep. All right, let me get it filled.
This is the fun about doing it live, folks. I'm doing it live.
I'm actually gonna put him in there because I feel like it was destiny.
And
It reset.
while Neil's talking about this, some players you'll see on here that I was thinking about, like Asturi Ruiz or like Jack Sawinski, right? What you guys are probably seeing is they've been sitting against left-handed pitching. Um, I don't think that both of those guys will be platoon bats, but they're hard to know when we're making bingo cards before the starting lineups come out. So just monitor those things as you're building your cards, right? It's sometimes managers make frustrating decisions that impact fantasy. And as you know, as we know from playing fantasy football, it's out of our control a lot of the time. So just stay diligent on those things and
Absolutely.
keep it top of
Now,
mind.
yes. Now with bingo, you can put every card's $1. So we can do 1, 5, 10, 15, all the way to 100. We'll do 5. I like to do 5 with the ones we do on the show here. I just, give
Yeah,
myself
put
a
our
good
money where our
shot.
mouth is.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
So,
confident.
yeah. So that'll create our cards for us. Now, again, you can look at it all day long and you could, keep checking in on it, or you could just wait till the end of the day, see how you did. So these are the different cards that were generated. Again, as you see, they're all different. So we'll see which one we hit on. I'm feeling good about it, Brian. We got the prize pull up to 116. I feel like we're gonna get some of that.
I think we might get a little chunk of change tonight. Feel good. Feel good.
The last thing I wanted to do was best ball. And I don't know. Let's see where we're at. We could always do our 2-teamer. Are you in this one already?
Yeah,
If you're not in this one, we could do a 6-teamer.
Oh yeah, that MLB 10 team. Yep. I'm going to join that right now.
Let's do that one then.
So we're going to do this. And now there we go.
Oh yeah. That's fun. We got to take the chance when we can, because we could always do the 2-teamers when we're on the show, but when a 6-teamer, a weekly 6-teamer presents itself, we got to take advantage of it.
And look, we know that some folks might be auto drafting. That's part of the challenge, right? That's when you have to play the ADP game when you're dealing with auto drafts, and so it's just another wrinkle that gets thrown into the thing. So
yeah, and it's important to mention. I mean, while we got the time, because we have 3 minutes here before the draft actually starts. Let's go into the lobby and just bring it up. Let me reduce the screen here a little bit. All right, so you're gonna want to queue players up, especially if you're not gonna be there. You know what I mean? Like, because the system will allow you to pick players that may not fit your system the right way. You know, fit the lineup you need. So you just want to make sure that you're on top of that. Even with the pitchers, for instance, I mean, this is for the week, so you want to monitor, make sure the pitcher's pitching that week, type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Because you will even in some of the 1-day drafts, you'll see like Strider in there. You know what I mean? You don't want to pick him when he's not playing that day. So it's not for the weak at heart, man. You gotta be built for this.
Yeah, you gotta be built different. That's that's what they say. But no, it's you got to set your cues. You have to stay a little bit more on top of it. And look, we're always trying to remove barriers to entry as far as playing fantasy baseball, but it is just more involved by its nature. So something to keep in mind as you are doing this. Set your cues, do a little bit of research for your weeklies, stay on top of who's starting what, and just be diligent.
Yeah,
but we're also having fun, right? We're not playing for $300, $500. We're not paying mortgages with our winnings. It's to get a little skin in the game without feeling like you're gonna lose your shirt based on a fantasy draft. So
I got the damn last pick of the draft. You have the second pick.
I do. So this is where you start thinking a little strategy, right? And we know that it looks like our first pick is on auto, when we know that he's probably already set his queue if he's already auto. So for me, that becomes, okay, am I playing the ADP game of Acuna going first, and then I get my pick of the litter after, or is there going to be a curveball thrown where like J-Rod gets taken first, and then you kind of have to pivot, right? Do you take Acuna second and deviate from the plan? So,
and again,
Neal, what do you think when you see you get back-to-back picks in a MLB weekly, versus?
What do I see?
Yeah, like when you're at the back of the turn, like how do you approach your
so it depends. Like, this is a weekly one, so obviously I can't think like I would in my daily ones. I do them a little differently. But for the weekly ones, I mean, I have to consider all the stuff that we mentioned, that we talk about. Like you're talking about, there's pitchers who pitched twice this week. Like, I kind of want them on my team. You know what I mean? So I might reach for some of these guys. You know what I mean, I might, go at them a little early, especially because I know Brian's on top of it already. So I know he's going for it. If Brian's not in the draft, maybe I'm thinking who else am I drafting? I don't know if they are thinking about it, but Brian I know is already thinking about it because he wrote a damn article about it. So I have to stay on top of these things. You know what I mean? So I might reach for some guys. And again, I'm playing the matchups. I'm looking at that. And when it's just like me and one other person, or it's a daily, I'm looking for. I'm trying to go out the park with these plays, but I got to be a little more strategic when we're going weekly like this, man. And 6 teams too. It's not 2 or 3 or 4. It's 6. I got to be careful, man.
Yeah.
Mistakes.
And when it's 6 teams and it's 3 or 3 pitchers, 3 pitching slots, right? Like that changes it pretty significantly. That's 18 pitchers off the board, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things, but in a weekly style, it's, that's the brunt of who's pitching, right? So you gotta pick and choose.
So all right. Acuna out the gate.
So there we go. It gets me Acuna off the board, which is good and bad. I think it's easy Bobby Witt for me, just based on what he's doing. So would be shocked if he didn't keep up this. He won't keep up the torrid pace, but he's Bobby Witt. He's gonna be fine.
Yeah. Now we got Nunley looks like they're in here, so they should be making their pick. Lowball and Mason over here look like they're gonna potentially auto draft.
Yep.
And then me as in here.
Which we know, hey, like we're drafting middle of the day. We know not everybody can stop work and stuff. We get it.
Yeah.
But we are just lucky enough to be able to do a draft in the middle of the day. So we're just happy to be here and have everybody in the room.
Yeah. And again, this is why it's important to put players in your queue, to have these guys set up as much as you can. It's not ideal, but it's definitely what I do as well. Cause I do so many drafts. I don't want to get caught off guard and I'm not available all day to do them. So I try to queue them up the best I can. You know what I mean?
Yep. It's just a numbers game after a certain point. So you just, you hope that your team is equipped and you don't have any questionable auto draft picks that didn't, that when your queue runs out, right. That's when things get dicey. So,
and the worst situation is typically at pitcher. So even if you just queue up the right pitchers, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it typically won't hurt you as bad.
Should be all right.
Yeah. All right, so Lowball went on to auto draft. We'll see if Mason goes on to auto draft. Again, these people had 5 minutes to join, to come around from their alert or their email. So try to give people as much time as we can before it's, you don't want to wait too long if you're actually available to draft.
And we know there's, schools of thought started immediately and then, have short timers. We get it, but we're trying to give everybody a fair shake to get in and, adjust accordingly. So that's what you see here.
Yeah, because again, our goal is to make it fun, not just, let me win a whole bunch of money. I mean, you want to have fun as well. So now, my turn. I'm up, man. Do I go your boy Corbin Carroll just say you can't?
I don't think he's making it back to me either way. So I think, your big thing is, do you like double up on outfield?
Yeah.
Who do you think? Because a lot of these guys are not making it back to you.
Right. So I'm trying to think now, like, who am I going to lose? Who do I want to risk? I'm thinking I'm going to go Soto first. I can't get out of here. Okay. Let me get Soto.
God. So I was hoping Soto would make it back to me, but
I'm not letting him. I'm not letting him do it, man. I'm not letting him do it. I'm buying the hype right now.
Yeah. Man, I hate seeing him do this in a Yankees uniform, but it's
trying to think off my do I get wishful thinking and feel like my boy Pete's gonna catch fire because I feel like he's not gonna come back to me either. Oh man, I think I'm gonna go.
It's tough. You got to make these choices. Yeah. So Pete early, I don't hate it. Okay,
I'm a homer.
So see, it looks like Mason did set his cue. So now he's got 2 pitchers. Top 2 pitchers are off the board.
And it looks like Mason actually just showed up too.
Yeah. So
we're in trouble, Brian. We're in trouble.
Yeah. It's gonna get dicey in here. Okay. So now I'm up again. Kyle Tucker's still on the board. Freddie's still on the board. Judge, right? So I think got to go Freddie. I'm going to finish out my infield right there.
It's always nice to get a position out the way.
Yes. So my infield's filled up. So now it's kind of like pick your poison. So I'm going to go Jordan because I'm a homer and I got to have at least one Astro on my team. And
not mad at it.
I don't love Jordan batting second in that lineup right now. I'm hoping Espada may change that, but he's swinging the bat like he's in midseason form, so I'm not too worried about him.
Yeah. I still only have one of each, so I gotta, you know, make sure I get to. I like Kim a lot. I might go Kim, man. Again, man, it's weird. Like you never know if you're reaching or if it's
Yeah.
like it might
And
just
you know,
work
keep in
out.
mind too, right? As we're working behind the scenes on what our ADP structure looks like and everything, we're still rocking off of preseason
Yeah.
rankings, right? So know that going in, and you know the guys who are at the top may not necessarily be the best for this week, right? Like Lourdes Gurriel is not going to be at the top, even though he was one of the highest performers last week, right?
Right.
So just keep that in mind as you guys go through these drafts.
I'm gonna
There he is,
finish off.
Ozzy.
I'm gonna finish off my infield. I like a lot of outfielders, and that's kind of the problem where I kind of feel like I might let it go down a little bit, man.
It's so deep. The outfield position is so deep this year.
I'm gonna make a crazy move. You ready for this?
I am.
Boom.
Oh, you sniped me on the Gossy, on the Goss
I
train,
wasn't gonna
man.
let you have him. I wasn't gonna
Oh,
let you
it
have
did
him.
me absolutely.
This is the problem with you
dirty.
writing those articles that
I
help me,
know.
sir.
I'm helping the competition, but yeah, Gossman is the only ace adjacent guy that left that has 2 starts this week.
Listen, you're gonna need to pay up if you want your guys, man, because I'm going for them all.
I know. I'm gonna have to start making some difficult decisions here on pitching versus my utility spots.
And I'm coming for them. I'm coming for them.
So, all right. So now I'm up. I'm good on infield, so I'm not really going to worry too much about that. Yeah, so I think, looking at outfielders, I kind of like Randy Arozarena this week. I know they got the Rangers tonight, but I think, he's the guy. He's the truth. So I'm going to finish up my outfield.
Not a bad.
And then
move.
I'm going to come in. I'm going to go get Reese Olson as a 2-start pitcher. This
I'll give it to you again, man.
Yeah, I knew you were, but I like Reese probably the best out of the. He's one of my top 3 2-start pitchers this week. So,
gotcha. I do need an outfielder. Garcia's been pretty good, man, to start the season, so I might go him.
He's just one of those. He's got to stay healthy. Stay healthy. So
I've been talking about Jazz a lot. I kind of want to, get angry Jazz on my team just because it's funny. Just to see what happens. Now that he hit that grand slam, maybe he gets into a mood here. But I feel like I can wait on Jazz if I want. So that's like a guy I'll put on my queue.
Yeah.
And then I can reach somewhere else if I want to. You know what I mean? I still need 2 utilities and I need 2 pitchers. And again, we do talk about, Brian mentioning the guys who have 2 starts. But still, do you pass on a Luis Castillo? You know what I mean? Do you do
exactly.
that?
And you have 3 pitcher spots, so you get 1 studly performance. It's still just as good as a 2-start.
Right, exactly. So it really depends. There's so many different ways to approach it. I feel like I want to get another one just to kind of, get another stud pitcher in there. So I'm going to start with that. And then I think I'm going to go. I think I want Garcia, man.
Yeah, Dolis Garcia is he's hard to pass up here.
So now I have 2 utility spots and a pitcher left. What do you have left?
So now I've got 2 utilities and 2 pitchers that I got to fill out. So I think here, this is where I go Gunnar Henderson for my first utility. Easy pick. And then, I think I'm going to fill out the rest of my utility. I'm going to go down. I'm going to go get George Springer. Like I said, I said earlier, he loves playing against the Astros in Minute Maid. So we'll go with Springer here.
I'm not mad at it. Not mad, sir. Some decent pitchers left still. You're still left with the idea of, do you go with a guy who's going to get 2 starts?
Right. Versus, you've got Zach Gallen, you've got Tyler Glass now.
Yeah, you got
you got Tarek Skubal,
Kirby. You got a lot of good options. I think I'm gonna get another one though, man. I think I'm gonna go.
Yeah, and snipe me on a manga.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that to you, man. And I'll get my boy Jazz. All right, so I got 1 utility spot left. So let me get this guy out of here.
See now, right? We're looking at Yeah, so like Mason's got to finish out his pitching, and then he's got one more utility.
Yeah.
Um, low ball, he's got to get two more pitchers, right? So,
Yep.
so now you got to play the game of okay, these guys need these positions versus
Yep.
what do I need? Who's going to go where? And it's at this point, right, when pitchers start to go off the board at the end too. Now it's okay. What decision am I making as far as am I dipping into those like deep 2 start guys,
Right.
or am I gonna just try to saddle a stud and hope that they have a studly performance?
Should be interesting to see how this wraps up. So Mason went with Christian Yelich. Okay, I get it. I like it.
Okay.
Yelich.
So I think I go for another one of my 2 start guys. Going with Tanner Houck. He gets the A's. It's a juicy little matchup for him. All right. So I need one pitcher still. So I think this is where I'm probably going to go get one of those ace adjacent guys. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a little bit of George Kirby. So I'll do George Kirby to close it out.
I'm a big Seattle Mariners starting rotation fan.
Man,
so
yeah,
I like that move.
They are stacked for what they are. So
yeah,
let's hope that they can all stay healthy and have some success this year.
For me, I'm gonna choose for the last pick. I gotta go Kim or Cruz, man. I'm going for my home run shortstop here.
That high upside shortstop.
Man, Kim's got the Cardinals. Cruz has the Nationals.
Nats. I mean, they're both.
Yeah,
those are both good matchups to start the week.
I might go with Cruz, although he did fail me on that bingo card. I don't know.
He did, but different ball game here. Different ball game in a points league.
I'm gonna go Cruz.
And that's it, folks.
That is it.
It's that easy.
After the fact, you can look at your lineup, see what you got. Here you see I got Ozzy, Pete, Garcia, Soto, Cruz, Jazz. And then my pitchers, man. I'm liking my pitchers, man. I'm really a fan of the pitchers that I pulled off there. So I got, I feel like I got 2 aces. One who, you gifted me with the 2 games. And then Shota as well. I'm digging it. And of course, you can go to the stand-ins. You can kind of see what everyone's projected. Look at me all the way down here. Look at you at the bottom.
I know I'm at the bottom, man. I think, sometimes it doesn't register like, oh, yeah, Tanner Houck's going to start today because sometimes they wait to announce it. But I think that could be playing in, or I guess they don't play until tomorrow. But, yeah,
Sneaky
it's all
pitchers.
Good. All
it's
good.
It's a good lineup, man. It's a good lineup. So. They're giving for the stand-ins, they're giving our boy Mason here the highest projection.
I mean, when you got Simeon and Olsen, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch.
And then he's got Spencer and Corbin in here, so of course, he's got a good start there. All right, cool. So we'll see how it goes. Again, there's tons of lobbies to join right now. You can do it. There's MLB Daily, so tomorrow, and then there's weekly. So that's what we just did. There's lots that are very close to being full. The dailies fill up pretty quick. That's why right now there's no one in them. But if you join a 2-teamer, it's gonna fill up kind of right away sometimes.
Yeah.
So we won't do that right now. We'll wrap the show up with just us. We played challenges, we played bingo, we did best ball, we covered everything we felt needed to be covered on today's episode. And of course, again, we'll have more content throughout the week. So if you're looking for content, whether it's on our socials at Rival Fantasy on X, TikTok, Instagram. Brian will have articles potentially going up. There'll be, short videos that maybe go up. Who knows? It all just depends on, what news is happening, what things are happening in baseball. We'll have updates as we go along, man.
Yeah, it's always changing. It's always changing. There's always stuff to talk about. So we'll make sure you guys are taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. Other than that, of course, again, in the description is a link for Rival Fantasy. You just seen us playing. If you haven't signed up and you're like, how the hell do I do that? Click on that link. And if it's your first deposit, you'll actually get a deposit match up to $200 plus a $25 voucher. If you already do have an account, you're like, man, I would love some more free stuff besides just the free card game that we didn't even show today. You can actually refer a friend and you both will get $25 vouchers. So lots of ways. We just encourage you guys to play. It's a lot of fun. Rival Fantasy is that, best all-in-one platform for you to have fun, settle debates, do all that kind of stuff. So we definitely recommend it. Anything that I'm missing here, Brian, before we, let them go for the week in MLB?
Yeah, man. I think hit us with any other questions you guys have, any, disagreements. That's what we're here to talk about. Let's settle some things over challenges. But no, just enjoy the first full week of MLB action of 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. That is it for us here. We appreciate you guys for joining us as always, and we're out.